Live from Shea Stadium in New York. Tonight, the Mets take on the Philadelphia Phillies. Mets Baseball 90 is brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Manufacturers Hanover, where your money has power. By Nissan, building cars for people who want more than just a means of getting from here to there. Nissan, built for the human race. By Express Mail, next day service from the post office. By the New York Daily News, New York's hometown paper. By Bell Atlantic, we're more than just talk. By Tropicana, 100% pure juices. Tropicana, even more reasons why you can't pick a better juice. Pitching for the Philadelphia Phillies tonight, Pat Combs with a record of 3-5, an earned run average of 4.43. And on the mound for the Mets, Doc Gooden with a record of 5-5, an earned run average of 4.65. Well, hi, everybody. I'm Ralph Kiner, along with Bill Robinson, Tim McCarver on special assignment, and Bill in Satorico Splendor, as he always is, one of the best-dressed men that ever graced the baseball field. And, Bill, welcome to our broadcast. Good to see you.
Thank you very much, Ralph, and certainly it is a pleasure to be here. For 30 years, I've taught players, and now I hope to teach the fans in the next couple of days, and a chance to work alongside of you, and hopefully tomorrow, Tim McCarver. This is great, and I really appreciate the opportunity.
Of course, you were here with the Mets last year as a coach of the New York Mets. Does it feel any different walking in the ballpark?
I will say that it's a lot easier from up here. You know, for many years, again, 6 years, I was down on the first base line. It's just so fantastic, and it's just a pleasure to be back here.
Bill Robinson, an outstanding player and hitting coach, and also, man, is going to help us out in our broadcast here tonight. A little bit about Pat Combs. You come from Philadelphia. He pitches for the Phillies.
Pat Combs last year was 5-0. I guess you talk about the sophomore jinx. First of all, you have to do something your freshman year in order to have a sophomore jinx. Right now, he's pitching a little tentative. He hasn't really exploded. I think what he's trying to do, he's trying to throw too many pitches instead of just going back to the basics, fastballs in, and maybe throwing that little fork ball. And he has good stuff, but he has to learn to keep the ball down.
Of course, we all know about Doc Gooden. He's been pitching for the Mets for quite some time, one of the great pitchers in the game. And we'll be back for that ball game in just a moment, right after this message from Budweiser. And on a beautiful evening for baseball, Doc Gooden to start for the Mets. He has a record of 5-5, 0-1 against the Phillies this year, an earned run average of 4.65. He's walked 33, struck out 91, given up 93 hits in 91 innings.
And he'll face Lenny Dykstra, the best hitter in baseball, leading off. And batting second, Tommy Herr. Batting third, the veteran Von Hayes. In right field and in left field, sweet swinging, hitting in the cleanup position, Ron Jones. At first base, the dependable one, John Kruk. At batting sixth and playing at third base, Charlie Hayes. Batting seventh and at shortstop, Dick Thon. And doing the catching, Darren Dutch Dalton. And also on the mound, Pat Combs with a record of 3 wins, 5 losses.
And the defense for the Mets, it's Magadan at first, Jeffries at second, Elster playing shortstop, and Johnson at third. McReynolds, Carrion, and Strawberry in the outfield left to right. And Mercado is the catcher. The umpires for the game, Ed Runge behind home plate, Mike Winters is the umpire at first base, Jerry Lane the umpire at second base, and Joe West the umpire at third. As we're about to get underway with Lenny Dykstra, the leader off for the Phillies. Dykstra leading the major leagues in hitting with a .382 batting average. He's also first in hits, tied for first with Sandberg with 92 base hits. And he has really done the job for the Philadelphia Phillies. He leads the National League in on-base percentage at .470. That's a combination of hits, walks, and being hit by pitch balls, and the first pitch, strike one.
I talked to Dwight Gooden today before the game, and he said one of his objectives today is to keep Lenny Dykstra, naturally keep Lenny Dykstra off the bases, and also Tom Herr.
That's a pretty tough task right now. Dykstra is 3 for 4 against Doc Gooden in his 4 at-bats. And the fastball for a ball, it's 1 ball and 1 strike. As a matter of fact, Lenny's hitting .333 against the New York Mets since going over to the Philadelphia Phillies.
And he can chew that tobacco with the best of them, can he? Boy, that nasty.
Ian Kruk.
That nasty little.
And the 1-1 pitch, and it's a breaking ball for a ball. 2 balls, 1 strike. You work with Lenny, Bill Robinson, on hitting. I know you tried to get him to do what he's doing this year.
Well, and just watching that curveball, Lenny was always a little too aggressive. Now Lenny is constantly, and you'll hear me the next couple of days, fans, saying that Lenny constantly stays within himself. He's not trying to do too much. There's a pitch right there that's away. Lenny just flicks the ball off. He'll battle the guy because he knows what he has to do as a leadoff man.
I think what hurt him more than anything else, he hit a home run off Mario Soto in his first game in the major leagues. He thought he was a home run hitter.
And every time he hit a home run here with the New York Mets, the first thing I tried to do was to downplay it, because I knew evidently the next time up or the next game he would go for it again.
He's had 3 home runs this year, but more importantly, the .382 batting average and on-base percentage. And this one grounded foul. It's 2-2.
And again, the little curveball. Dwight got the curveball in a good spot. What did Lenny do? Just flicked it foul.
As a leadoff batter, he's been superb for the Philadelphia Phillies. Didn't hit well for them last year. As a matter of fact, sort of gave up on the season last year. Ended up hitting .222 for the Phillies after the trade. And there's a good curveball.
And that is Dwight Gooden's pattern right there. Dwight Gooden is always, usually 3-2 you can look for a curveball, but here's a 2-2 pitch that Lenny's looking for the heater, and sort of gets that little local. And Lenny, see you next time, kid.
So 1 away as Gooden strikes out his first batter, and that'll bring up Tom Herr. Herr hitting .270 on the year, 3 home runs, 27 RBIs.
It's a wonder Lenny didn't tip his cap to Dwight on that pitch. He's been known to do that.
And the first pitch to Herr, a fastball. Herr 0 for 4 in last night's ball game.
If you look up what it takes to be a good number 2 hitter in the dictionary, you'll probably see a picture of Tom Herr. Tom Herr is the ideal number 2 man. Why? Because he sprays the ball all over. He very seldom strikes out, knows his limitations, can pull the ball, can bunt, and can also run.
And of course, as a switch hitter, he's a 13-year veteran in the majors with a .275 lifetime batting average. Phillies have a productive type lineup. They have the right players in the right places. Herr, a good hit and run man. And with Dykstra getting on base so much, they can really utilize that play.
Their only problem, and talked to Nick Leva at length yesterday and today, they just lack home run power. I think that's one reason why the Mets have been winning so many games, because they have the ability to hit the long ball. Nick Leva said that we can get on base, but we don't have anyone that's really been hitting home runs that can maybe put the game away or just put it out of reach or to get it to our bullpen.
And the count now 2-1. The Phillies with 43 home runs, 10th in the National League in that department. They're 7th in runs scored, which also shows a lack of the long ball power. And this ball hit down to Magadan. He gobbles it up. 2 men away. That'll bring up the power hitter for the Philadelphia Phillies, Von Hayes. He has only 9 home runs, hitting .292. He too with a fine on-base average. He gets a lot of walks, which really isn't that good for a third-place hitter if he's trying to get those walks.
You took the words right out of my mouth. If I'm hitting third, I want a guy that's a little more aggressive. I think that because he gets so many walks, that means naturally, fans, he's not swinging the bat. And Von Hayes is a good hitter. And that means, too, that he's taking too many pitches. And there's a lot of times when you can go ahead and swing that bat and beat on the ball and possibly hit a home run. Especially in Philadelphia, that is an ideal home run hitter's ballpark.
He has 122 home runs in his major league career coming in. He leads the league in walks with 44, and his on-base average 420. Sometimes when you're in that third spot or fourth spot in the batting order, you don't get a chance to hit, and the walks come because they're pitching around you, but not so in Hayes' case. He looks for walks. And he goes after the fastball. 2 balls, 1 strike.
There's a young man that's playing with the Baltimore Orioles that all the Met fans should know is Randy Milligan. And Randy Milligan was hitting around .210 all about a month ago because he was getting too many walks. Randy Milligan now is one of the hottest hitters in the American League because he is swinging the bat. And right now he has like 14 home runs. 30-some RBI. Just doing a great job.
Got 3 of those home runs in one ball game in his first 3 at bats. It's a long foul ball down the left side, and it's out of play. Incidentally, Von Hayes has hit the doctor very well. .339 average against Gooden with a total of 20 base hits.
Yeah, Von Hayes just gets under this ball just a tiny bit, sort of brings his hands in. It's a good pitch by Dwight, and pretty good stroke on Von Hayes. You see where his head was, that stiff front leg, but he just sort of inside out of that ball and just sort of stroked it majestically down the left field line.
Use a stance that wide to keep from overstriding. He has a good move down in that foot position. Takes very little stride. And that one a breaking ball, but out of the strike zone, 3-2.
But the only thing that I can say, and you know, Ralph, being a power hitter that you were, when your feet are a little too wide, it does not allow you to generate any power, because I feel that if your feet are a little closer together, it allows you to stride, and the stride adds fluidity into this. You like that word, Ralph? Fluidity.
I like that word.
It adds fluidity, and it allows you to stride and allows you to generate power. With your feet a little too wide, it just doesn't give you that chance. See how wide his feet are? Now watch when he strides. See, right, he doesn't really, and I've been a believer that when you stride 6 to 8 inches, and that just gives you a little tempo. It allows the ball to get to you as you're going to the ball.
Now the 3-2 pitch, a fastball hit the center field. Carry on in center, and the Phillies go in order. A strikeout for Gooden, the score at the end of 1/2 inning. Philadelphia nothing. The Mets coming up, and here's a word from Mobil Gasoline. Pat Combs on the mound for Philadelphia with a record of 3-5, an earned run average of 4.43. He's walked 35, struck out 44, given up 74 hits in 67 innings.
And he'll face the red-hot New York Mets. Leading off, Mark Carrion in center field. Dave Magadan at first base. Batting third, Greg Jeffries. Batting fourth, the new Darryl Strawberry. Batting fifth, Kevin McReynolds. Sixth, Howard Johnson playing at third base. Seventh, Kevin Elster at shortstop. Doing the catching, Orlando Mercado. And on the mound, Dwight Gooden.
And the defense for Philadelphia, Kruk at first, Hers at second, Thon at short, Hayes playing third, that's Charlie Hayes. Jones in left, Dykstra in center, and Von Hayes in right. The catcher is Dalton, and the first pitch by Combs, ball 1. Mark Carrion hitting .269. He's hitting .357 when he's hitting first in the batting order.
And Mark Carrion right off the bat will tell you, I can hit. And he can do that, too. He's a very, very confident young man. And that's what it takes to be a good ball player, confidence. When you don't play every day, you got to stay ready. And he has pretty good work habits.
And they're still coming into the ballpark. Near sellout here tonight. Might end up being the sellout. One thing you got to like about Carrion is his short stroke. He gets the bat on the ball in a hurry.
Here's something that when I work with Mark, normally players should be, and you'll see the comparison in Dave. Mark Carrion is very, very fidgety at the plate. He's not real quiet. Watch how his feet are moving, constantly moving, but he does stop them just before the pitch comes.
And this one popped up and playable for Dalton. He drops it. Aaron Dalton with an error on a pop-up that should have been a routine play.
One thing you do in baseball is never take anything for granted. He knows that the ball is going to spin back. He just simply closes his glove just a little bit too quickly. Watch him close his glove too quick right there.
In the days before the hinge on the glove, which makes it like a first baseman's glove, he couldn't have closed it. You have to put that hand up there.
That's right. And then take a chance of breaking a finger, though.
That's another thing that might happen. 2-2 the count, and Combs back with a breaking ball, just misses with it.
Yeah, Pat Combs, if he's going to be effective, he has to get that pitch from Paul Runge. That looked like a pretty good screwball or an off-speed pitch right there that sort of tied Mark Carrion up.
He comes back and misses, so the walk sets up a runner at first base, and it comes after the error, prolonging the time at bat for Carrion, and that puts Magadan at the plate. Magadan red hot. He has hit in 11 consecutive ball games with 22 hits, 2 a game, hitting .512, and in his last 35 games he's hitting .430. Overall, 377, 2 home runs, 18 runs batted in. And he takes the fastball for ball 1.
It'll be very interesting here. This is an ideal hit and run situation too. Dave Magadan against a left-hander. He's so hot. Maybe to get those runners moving a little bit to keep them out of the double play, because you got another hot guy in Greg Jeffries and Darryl Strawberry behind him. I know that Davey always liked to hit in this situation, hit and run. Let's see if Buddy likes to do it too.
1-0 pitch to Magadan. The ball, no, a strike call. It's 1-1. Home plate umpire Ed Runge, former minor league ball player of the Houston organization. His daddy, an umpire. Talking about the Mets being hot in their last 13 games, they're hitting .342 as a team, and there's Jeffries, one of those hot batters. And another ball, so they count 2-1.
And here's another hit and run situation. 2 balls, 1 strike. Let's see if he starts in here.
This is the ideal hit and run count. 2 balls and 1 strike. No pitch outs. Mets have scored in the first inning in 9 of their last 10 games.
That's amazing. That's an amazing stat right there.
Sort of like 1986. That's
Yes.
the way it took place that year. 2-1 pitch, and he ties him up with a fastball inside. It's fouled back into the stands. 2-2.
Now this is the way Pat Combs has to sort of pitch to left-handers and right-handers, where Dave Magadan, see how he brings his hands in on that inside pitch and sort of just tries to inside out the ball and just stroke it over to left field.
That's in their last 13 games with 42 base hits.
And Dave has a very unorthodox stance where he holds his bat sort of at his head there. And I really tried when I worked with Dave too to try to get him to move his hands back just a tiny bit. And the old punching theory, if I were to punch you, Ralph, and I'd love to, no, just kidding, would you bring your hands back to hit someone, or would you keep your hands right by your face to hit someone?
Well, there's nothing that you do that you don't have some recoil before the start of the action.
Right. And that's why he hits a lot of balls to left field.
And the runner going with a pitch that keeps him from getting the lead runner. So on the 3-2 count, Magadan grounds out, and that puts Carey-on at second in scoring position.
Second baseman, number 9, Greg
One thing I like
Jeffries.
about Dave Magadan, he is as mad as he can be right there. He wants to get a hit every time out, and I really think that's great when you're not real complacent and not saying, well, gee, I'm hitting the ball well, I won't worry about it because I made an out. Dave Magadan wants to get a base hit, as do all the guys, but Dave Magadan wants to get a base hit every time up.
Well, his cousin is Lou Piniella, and Lou was that way too.
Yes.
Tear up the dugout when he'd come in.
And he's been known to tear up the dugout a little bit now that he's managing too.
Well, Nick Leva out to the mound to talk to his pitcher as Magadan takes a seat, and Jeffries stands up to the plate. Jeffries also doing a great job, now hitting .316 on the year with 9 home runs, 29 runs batted in. And he takes a fastball strike.
First thing that I noticed about Greg Jeffries this year is he's wearing 2 batting gloves. Greg Jeffries was always vehement about wearing batting gloves, and I talked to him yesterday about wearing batting gloves, and he said last year he was so busy fidgeting around the on-deck circle with pine tar, rosin, and things like that, and he just was not prepared to hit. He said now with the 2 batting gloves on, and it kind of makes sense, with 2 batting gloves on, I can just go right up there. I already have the pine tar on. I can study the pitcher a little bit more, and it sure has worked this year.
Certainly has. He's been red hot for the Mets. With runners in scoring position, he's hit .345 as a third-place hitter, driving in 18 runs. He's in the top 10 in the offensive categories in 6 of those categories. And the fastball moves him away, and it's 1-2.
And that's a good pitch right there. You got to keep him out off the plate. Now, to make the screwball or something off speed a little more effective, you get the guy off the plate, and then it makes the pitches away a little bit more. Good slider in. Get off that plate, Greg.
One thing about Jeffries, you can't intimidate him. He comes back hard when you throw at him, which is a great sign of a good hitter. And the count now 2-2. Combs 3-2 on his first batter, 3-2 on his second batter, now 2-2 on his third batter. is fouled back out of play. That time the fastball. So the count remains at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, did you see him try to get on top of that ball, Ralph? Boy, that's the way you have to hit a pitch up in your eyes. You got to more or less just try to tomahawk that ball. Try to keep the barrel of the bat above the ball. He's under it just a little bit. That's why he fouls the ball straight back. But he was all over that pitch.
Has the same swing from both sides of the plate, which is rather unusual for a switch hitter. And another one pulled foul. Most switch hitters are low balls left-handed, batting left-handed, and high ball hitters batting right-handed.
And he hits a low. I think he hits a low ball pitch from both sides.
And his difference in batting left-handed and right-handed is negligible. He has one more home run left-handed than he does right-handed, but hitting just about .316 from both sides. Bounced out to the second baseman, Tommy Herr. And the play at first base for the second out. And on the play, Carrion moves to third, and Darryl Strawberry moves up to the plate. Strawberry in his last 11 games, at least one base hit. He's had 18 over the 11 games, hitting .459 with 6 home runs, 17 runs batted in. Batting average now at .292, 14 home runs, 39 runs batted in.
And did you see that intensity on Darryl Strawberry's face? That's something that has really lacked, I think, in the last couple of years. Darryl was kind of moody. He just did not come to the ballpark. Of course, we did not know he was having that kind of a problem. But look at that intensity in those eyes.
And the curveball hangs high in the count, 1-1. Darryl in his last 25 ball games with 10 home runs and 26 runs batted in. Again, the curve, and it's ball 2, 2 balls and 1 strike.
Yeah, Pat looks, again, we had said earlier in the show, Pat is throwing maybe too many pitches. He's trying to be a little too fine. And I guess with the way the New York Mets have been beating on that baseball, you better be a little bit fine. But you got to stay ahead.
This ball grounded to Kruk, the first baseman, who'll take it all away. And the Mets do not score. They threaten with a walk. No hits, no runs, 1 error, and 1 left at third, and the score at the end of 1. The Phillies nothing, the Mets nothing. Now here's a word from the New York Daily News. Well, a near capacity crowd at this point as the ball game goes to the top of the second. No score, and the Phillies coming up with Ron Jones to lead it off. Jones, a pinch hitter in last night's ball game, 0 for 1, his first appearance since he tore up his knee crashing into the fence here at Shea Stadium in 1989. He was out the rest of the season and has had a whole mess of rehabilitation, and now back in action as he takes the first pitch for strike 1. He had a 3-run home run the last time he faced Doc Gooden back in '88. Fine young prospect for the Philadelphia Phillies, and the curveball for a ball.
You know, they seem to think that Ron Jones is the finest prospect that they've ever brought up from the minor leagues. That's what they think of this young man.
He tore up that knee on April 18th, crashing into the fence, trying to catch a ball hit by Dave Magadan.
It sounded like a shotgun from first base coaching line. Boy, that was something. Now they have the outfield wall padded, but it wasn't padded when he crashed into it. And I guess I'll bet he goes out and he looks around and some bad memories at this ballpark, the way he's torn up that knee.
It could really have taken his whole career down the drain. But now back here after rehabilitation. He was at Scranton earlier this year, hitting .264 in 43 ball games with 3 home runs, 26 RBIs. And Gooden's fastball for ball 3, and a full count now to Ron Jones.
And this is that curveball situation that Dwight has always thrown. 3-2. He's not afraid to take a little bit off and throw that curveball. Let's see if he does it here.
He did, and he called it a ball and wide.
Ooh.
I mean, he must have crossed up Runge. Man, this ball's right through the heart of the plate.
A lot of times umpires guess along with hitters, and everyone is guessing. Ooh.
So the ball call puts Jones on, the first base runner for the Phillies. It comes as the leadoff batter here in the second and brings up John Kruk. And Kruk is hitting .389 with 7 hits off Doc Gooden. You look at the stats of the Philly players in the starting lineup against Gooden. You say, where the heck has Doc been? He's tougher than that to hit.
Yes.
And there's a fastball for a ball.
Yeah, John Kruk with that pronounced open stance sort of limits his ability, I think, really to drive the ball.
And of course, he is a opposite field hitter, and he fouls off the fastball. He's hitting .276 for the year with 2 home runs, 28 runs batted in. One of the things about Kruk is that he has played several years now in the major leagues. He's never been hit by a pitch ball. Can you believe that? I just can't believe that.
And outside of maybe being one of the flakiest guys in the game of baseball today too, but he's a good man. He loves the game of baseball, loves to play, and can swing that baseball bat.
This is his 5th year in the major leagues. Never been hit by a pitch ball. And he hits it to Jeffrey. Should be an easy double play. Elster takes Jeffrey's throw and the throw to first base for the out. And the DP for the Mets.
Third baseman, number 8, Charlie Hayes.
Good turn by Greg Jeffries, and back to Kevin Elster. John Kruk that we talked about. Look how high he holds that bat. This pitch here just takes a little bit off the pitch, Dwight Gooden, and that's what Dwight has to do. You cannot continually try to blow guys away. Take a little bit off, put a little bit on, and then when needed to go ahead and pop that fastball up and in on the guy.
So Kruk goes to the chewing tobacco as Charlie Hayes fouls off the first pitch for strike 1. And Gooden back with a fastball, 1 ball, 1 strike. They had an article the other day about Doc Gooden throwing 100 miles an hour. That sounds like a gun that a policeman would use stopping you on a highway, because there's no way he throws 100 miles an hour.
No, that's
a curveball, not a knockdown pitch. Just got away from the doctor. 2-1 the count.
But you know, the only thing I saw Charlie Hayes in the hotel today, and I said, "Are you playing today?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, how do you hit Dwight?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "The last time that I faced Dwight, he was throwing balls over my head." Of course, that was a curveball that really just got away. Starts him to think a little bit.
There's a fastball and the check swing foul ball, 2-2.
And that little curveball hanging inside over his head sort of made Charlie Hayes just sort of bail out a little bit. And anytime you pull off, you get that bat in play, and that's why that ball went foul to right field.
No score. We're in the top of the 2nd inning with 2 men out. Either side with a base hit. Hayes hitting .282, and that one close, but ball 3, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
And when we see that curveball again, it's worked for him so far.
Yeah, but Runge won't call it a strike. Now the 3-2 pitch. And it's a fastball this time.
Yeah, Dwight said, if you're not going to call my good curveball strike, I'll just have to go back to some heat. Good heater up just a tiny bit. Charlie Hayes is a good low ball hitter. You see where he got under that ball a little bit. You got to try to keep the barrel of the bat above the ball, hit down on that ball.
There's a fastball, foul tip. So the count remains at 3-2. That was a good pitch to hit right there.
Yes, it was. That was right there. Right down Broadway. One thing I look at Charlie Hayes, see where his butt is, see how he's sort of pulled off that ball a little bit. And as you know, Ralph, you always try to hit with your belly button. And watching you, my father used to bring me in and watch you.
Oh, come on now.
Play
now, wait a minute.
And you could beat on that ball too, kid. What was it, 37 home runs a year for 10 years?
That was it. The parks are smaller then. And another fastball, so Gooden staying with the fastball. 3 of them in a row on the 3-2 pitch.
But the ball wasn't as live as it is now. Do you think the ball is livelier now?
Oh, absolutely.
I've seen some remarkable home runs hit, one-handed, broken bats. It's amazing.
Well, they say that parks were small and It's a lot harder now because the parks are bigger. Whoever wrote the article didn't see any baseball games in those days. There's another foul ball off the fastball. It was 483 to center field in the Polo Grounds. It was 456 to center field in Pittsburgh. And I've forgotten what it was in the old Braves Park up in Boston.
And when you guys use those taped balls, you know those balls.
Yeah, we had to wrap them ourselves.
Wrap tape on those balls, just did not carry.
They were dead.
You had to supply your own power.
The ones that the pitchers liked were the ones they sewed up themselves. Put the high seams on for the curveball. There's a fastball again, and it's fouled back. So Charlie Hayes hanging tough here.
I guess Dwight is really trying to reestablish his fastball and his rhythm or something. I mean, he's thrown Charlie Hayes about 5 consecutive fastballs right there that Charlie has just gotten under a little bit behind. Why not suck back a little bit on this, Dwight? Throw him a little change up and throwing that curveball again.
5 in a row fouled off on the 3-2 count. And he comes back again with a fastball and walks him. Second walk in the inning, but the double play erased the first one. And that'll bring up Dickie Thon. Talking about being hit, Dickie Thon, of course, was hit by Mike Torres up around the eye in 1984 and didn't play the rest of that season. He was hit in April 8th, as a matter of fact, the 6th game of the season. Since that time, he's been hit only once.
Have you ever been hit serious enough to put a little fear in yourself to have to go up to home plate the next day or so?
Fortunately not. There's a line drive to center field. Carry on right there. So his gets retires the Phillies. 2 walks, a double play, 1 left on, and the score at the end of 1.5 innings. It's the Phillies nothing, the Mets nothing. Now here's a word from Metropolitan Life. No score. We're going to the bottom half of the 2nd inning. Neither side with a base hit. And for the Mets, it'll be Kevin McReynolds to lead it off. Pat Combs, the left-hander on the mound for the Philadelphia Phillies against the right-hander Doc Gooden. McReynolds hitting .265 with 12 home runs, 39 RBIs. And the first pitch is called a ball.
And in that first inning, Pat Combs got all 3 outs on ground balls. That's indicating that he is keeping the ball down. And naturally, with the power hitting of the New York Mets, you want to try to do that. Keep that ball out of the air because these guys are big and strong, and they are on a home run binge.
Lead the National League in home runs with 82. Reynolds with 6 home runs in his last 16 games with 16 RBIs, and that pitch a called strike 2 and 1.
Yeah, Pat, if you throw Kevin McReynolds that pitch again, he'll leave here. He is a good low ball hitter.
And it's topped out to the shortstop side, cut off by Charlie Hayes. Good play for Hayes, as he should take all he can reach, and he did. And 1 away, another ground ball out.
You're right, another ground ball out because he takes a little bit off of this ball. And anytime, as you said, Ralph, that the third baseman can cut that ball off, take it away from the shortstop, go ahead and do it.
That'll bring up Howard Johnson. 1 man out, bottom half of the 2nd, no score. Howard hitting .224 with 11 home runs, 34 runs batted in. He's been bothered by a bad shoulder. You watched him here last night, Bill Robinson, and I know that you picked up something that he has not done in the past.
Well, naturally, even on that pitch there, Howard is just pulling off of everything, trying to hit home runs. It should be to Howard's advantage. Anytime you have an injury, you should try to use that injury to your advantage. I think Lenny Dykstra has done it too. Lenny Dykstra pulled a rib cage muscle, and I think that really made him cut down on his swing. Howard Johnson is one of the strongest men in baseball. If your shoulder is bothering you on swings, why not cut back on that swing a little bit? The same thing in pitching, not to do the same thing every time up. Howard and I always talk about making adjustments, and right now it just does not look like he's making the adjustments.
Behind that fastball and popping it up, and now Kevin Elster, the batter. Kevin hitting .189, 5 home runs, 29 runs batted in. And he's behind the fastball, and it's fouled back. 1 ball, 1 strike. Elster's never handled Philadelphia well. Lifetime average of .202 against the Phillies with 2 home runs.
Yeah, Pat Combs has a little sneaky fastball too, and I think that's what's making his breaking pitch a little more effective.
This ball hit to deep left center field. It's way back, but right on the warning track as Lenny Dykstra makes the catch. Mets go in order. The score at the end of 2. The Phillies nothing, Mets nothing. Now here's a word from Manufacturers Hanover. Well, we're going to the top of the 3rd. No score in the game. Either side with a base hit. And batting for the Phillies will be Darren Dalton, their catcher, as Doc Gooden gets a strike.
Yeah, Darren's a good fastball hitter, too. His only problem in watching him for many, many years is Darren is a little too stiff with his swing, and maybe we can pick that up a little later.
And the fastball right by him. He fouls it back in the stands on the 3rd base side.
Right, even on that swing, a good fastball by Dwight, tailing away just a tiny bit, and Darren did not go out after it. He is strictly a pull hitter.
Another fastball in the count 1-2. Dalton hitting .235 for the year with 2 home runs. He's driven in 12, 1 for 4 in last night's game. And the curveball chopped out to Jeffries, the second baseman. 1 away.
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest curveball. Dwight does get it up a little bit, but he gets it out away from Darren Dalton. And see right there how stiff his upper body is. He's not really going after that ball and driving it. It's almost like he swings because he has a brace or something on his back, or he has a bad back.
He does wear a brace in that knee.
Well, maybe that'll do it too.
Had that knee torn up in a collision with Mike Heath at home plate.
But he swung like that before he had that knee torn
up. He did, yeah.
Yes.
He's a very straight up hitter. Now the batter, Pat Combs. Combs hitting .190 with 4 hits and 21 at bats.
Yeah, to be a good hitter, you got to get in there where the fire is hot.
And Gooden's fastball fouled off. Strike 2 the count. Well, Houston finally won the ball game. They defeated the Giants 4-2. They had lost 7 in a row. And a fastball again, and it's strike 3. Second strikeout as Gooden strikes out the first and 9th batter in the batting order. And that'll bring up Lenny Dykstra.
And another good fastball, Dwight. Of course, the pitcher's up there. You really probably don't want to throw that ball right down Broadway with, so to speak, excuse the pun, right down Broadway. With the pitcher up, you can get away with that. You better not do that, Dwight, with Lenny Dykstra up there. He's a good fastball hitter.
Remember, fans, drinking responsibly makes good sense. Please know when to say when. A reminder from Budweiser. Dykstra caught looking at a curve. This time he swings at a curveball and quickly bounces out to Magadan at first. And an easy inning for the doctor. 1-2-3, the score at the end of 2.5. The Phillies nothing, the Mets nothing. Now here's a word from Mobil Gasoline. The annual 4th of July celebration at Shea this year on Bud Dry Fireworks Night. After Wednesday night's 7:05 game against the Houston Astros, all fans will be treated to a spectacular fireworks display brought to you by Bud Dry and the world-famous Carucci family. To get your tickets, call 718-507-TIXX or 212-399-4444 for Ticketron outlet information. And fans win a dream day as a celebrity bat boy or bat girl at a Mets home game this season, courtesy of Milk Duds Candy, the pleasure that can't be rushed. Winners receive 4 tickets to a game, a jersey, a bat, a baseball, and get to go on field to watch batting practice and have a photo taken with a Mets player. Look for entry forms wherever Milk Duds are sold or pick one up at Shea Stadium. This offer is limited, so be sure to enter today. No purchase necessary, void where prohibited, and winners do not perform bat boy duties. As the first batter, Orlando Mercado, fouls a fastball back at strike 1. Mercado batting .240 for the year with 2 home runs, 5 runs batted in. That's 2 home runs, a career high in one season. And Combs with the curve.
Sorry, Ralph. Heard the greatest human interest story today among the ball players that, you know, Orlando's father passed away on the 1st of June. And what did the Met players do? They took up a real nice collection and presented it to Orlando. And the last one to pay was Buddy Harrelson.
This ball hit hard, but Charlie Hayes, who has done a good job fielding, comes up with it, picks up the out. He's made 1 error in his last 39 games. Mets have yet to have a base hit. They had a base run in the first on a walk, and the Phillies without a base hit, but they've had 2 on walks. And that'll bring up Doc Gooden. Gooden proud of the fact he has a home run this season. One of his 4 hits, hitting 138. And a drive to right. First hit of the game.
I think Dwight's a little mad at me. We talked in the clubhouse, and he mentioned I had made a comment on the air up for ESPN about hitting pitchers. And he said, Bill, I'm mad because you didn't mention me as far as being a good hitter. He said, I'll show you today that I can hit a baseball. This is a pretty good swing. He drops his hands a little bit. Look the way he stays behind that ball and keeps his head right on the ball.
So he has the first hit of the game, and that brings up Mark Carrion, the Mets' only other base runner, walking on a 3-2 pitch in the first inning. And the off-speed pitch is missed. Strike 1.
Well, if you have any chance, or if you're a good hitting pitcher at all, you can help yourself do something like Dwight just did, or bunt, or really just stay in that ball game a little bit. Don Robinson, I'll bet Don Robinson has won 10-15 games in his major league career because he's going to stay in there and hit. He's probably as good or better than some of the guys that they have coming off the bench.
Actually used as a pinch hitter a few times.
Won a championship in instructional league when his career was on the downside with the Pittsburgh Pirates because of knee operations and elbow operations, and he went down as an outfielder and won a batting championship in the instructional league.
There have been a lot of good hitting pitchers. One of them, of course, Bob Lemon, who started his career as a third baseman. Wes Farrell hit the most home runs as a pitcher, 38.
And Babe Ruth was probably better than all of them.
Babe was a great pitcher, but even greater with that bat. The count goes to 3-1 on Carrion. Don Newcomb, Don Drysdale.
Now, if you're Buddy Harrelson, do you run a pitcher 3-1?
No.
He's a pretty good athlete.
He can run. You don't want him down there sliding.
No.
So a walk puts runners at first and second and brings up Dave Magadan. Carrion walking for the second time. Magadan grounded out on a 3-2 pitch his first time up.
And that's what a leadoff man has to do. Buddy Harrelson inserted Mark Carrion into the leadoff position. Leadoff man, you take whatever the game will give you. If the game means that on that at bat you have to take a walk, take it. Normally Mark Carrion would be so aggressive that he'd be swinging at that pitch, maybe pop the ball up or even strike out.
Are you surprised that Bud Harrelson was made manager after Davey was gone?
Not at all. I think that Buddy was the only logical choice after Davey was fired. Buddy handled things very, very well. I think that in my case, I think as a hitting instructor, you have to become really too friendly with the guys. Buddy was friendly, but he stayed just distant enough to, although we all had the respect, but I think Buddy handled it just perfect because he was the bullpen coach or the dugout coach and really the assistant manager.
There you saw a great play by John Kruk to take a base hit away from Magadan, and then an outstanding play by Carrion to get back to the bag to keep out of the double play.
Yeah, this is a great play by both. Here, Dave Magadan, who is hot as he can be, just crushes one down the line. John Kruk, who is not really a first baseman, dives after the ball, but Mark Carrion, having to wait until the ball gets by Kruk, slides back. That's a good heads-up play, and it gives Greg Jeffries a chance now to hit with 2 men on.
So that saved at least 1 run as he took that extra base hit away from Magadan. And now it's Jeffries at the plate, and Jeffries takes the curve for ball one. Jeffries grounded out to the second baseman on a 2-2 pitch his first time up. Scoreless game, 2 men out, bottom half of the third. One ball, one strike.
I used to love to hear Paul Runge behind the plate, the way he calls balls and strikes. It's really animated, the way he calls it, and then he says, yeah, or no.
In the dirt, good block by Dalton. Runners hold. Good in the runner at second base. Carry on the runner at first. 2 men out, bottom half of the third. The breaking ball are called strike. So again, the count 2-2 on Jeffries.
Greg, you know that you missed that pitch. That was a pitch that was very, very hittable. The only good thing was like a screwball or something that he took. Pat took just a little bit off to sort of froze Greg just for that split second.
This time it's blooped into left field, and coming up hard is Jones. He makes the catch. So the Mets threaten but do not score. They get their first hit, also a walk, 2 men left on base, and the score at the end of 3. It's the Phillies nothing, the Mets nothing. Now here's a word from your Chevrolet dealers. Well, this game is brought to you in part by your Tri-State Lincoln Mercury dealers, featuring the Lincoln Town Car, Motor Trend's Car of the Year, and by RC Cola. Top of the 4th inning, I'm working with Bill Robinson, who is sitting in for Tim McCarver, who was away on another assignment. Bill, it's nice to be working here with you as we go to the 4th. No score. You're a hitting coach. How do you get some runs?
Take 2 and hit the right, so to speak. I tell you what, that good pitching, they say the good pitching stops good hitting, and Pat Combs has really done a good job keeping the Mets sort of off balance, and as has Dwight Gooden. Dwight has not allowed a base hit in 3 innings of 3 complete innings.
And Tommy Hurd to lead it off, and there is a drive caught by Elster, and once again Elster showing his range at short. Checking out the Nissan National League scoreboard, the Cardinals defeated the Cubs 8-7. Montreal leading Pittsburgh 1-0 that game in the top of the second. Houston defeating San Francisco 4-2. San Diego won, Atlanta won, bottom half of the third. The Dodgers 3 and Cincinnati won that game in the top of the 4th. The Dodgers have won 6 in a row, and they're now only 8.5 back of Cincinnati.
And how about those Montreal Expos? I mean, to lose the guys, the caliber of pitchers that they lost, and to come back. They win that game today, they go into first place.
First place is right. They're one half game back of the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Mets are 3 games out.
That's one of the finest pitches right there that I've ever seen Dwight Gooden throw. He has that 90-plus fastball, but what does he do? He sucks back just a tiny bit, and he threw one hellacious changeup right there.
And the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Von Hayes flied to center his first time up. And the fastball for ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike. And another fastball. It's 3-1. Von Hayes, the only man in the major leagues to have 2 home runs in the first inning of a ball game. That was against the Mets. Remember that game?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
This ball popped up in foul territory. And a great play by Howard Johnson as he goes on top of the tarp.
That's the only way you can make that play right there. Howard is a great athlete. What you do is you go and you find the fence, find where the ball is. Howard knows that that tarp is there. Just go ahead and jump on top of it. I'm sure Pete Flynn is not amused because you put spike marks in his tarp, but Hey, he'll take it for an out, Howard.
Outstanding play by Howard Johnson. 2 men away, and that'll bring up Ron Jones.
Nice haircut, too, Howard. Why are these guys wearing those lines and stuff through their heads?
They started doing that, and they started winning, so you're not going to change that.
That's true. Excuse me, Howard. I looked around the clubhouse today, and everyone has 6 or 7 lines around there.
This ball hit the center, going back as carry-on, and he puts it away. So 3 plays that are above average, and the Phillies go in order. The score at the end of 3.5 innings, it's the Phillies nothing, the Mets nothing. Now here's a word from your Tri-State Lincoln Mercury dealers. Well, back to the live action. Darryl Strawberry leading off here in the 4th for the Mets. It's a towering fly ball to left field on the first pitch by Pat Combs.
This pitch is out just a little bit away from Darryl. Darryl just got under that ball just a little bit. That's really the way you have to pitch Darryl Strawberry. Darryl Strawberry, with the way he is set up to a certain extent, might be a little vulnerable with his back elbow up in the air. Might be a little vulnerable, and we'll see if we can pursue that by our crack staff in our booth, and we'll talk about Darryl's swing.
And Kevin McReynolds now the batter. He gets a curveball for a strike, 1 ball and 1 strike. McReynolds grounded out to third his first time up. Mets have the only hit in the ball game. It was a single by Doc Gooden to right center. And a broken bat chopper out to third. Charlie Hayes takes it. And McReynolds splinters his bat. That'll bring up Howard Johnson, and while we wait for him to come to the plate, let's check out the Nissan American League scoreboard. Boston beat Baltimore 4-3. Toronto defeated the Yankees 8-4. Kansas City against Minnesota. Cleveland against Milwaukee. Chicago defeated Oakland 5-3. 2 in a row now for Chicago and Oakland. Detroit against California. Seattle against Texas. Chicago now just 2 games back of Oakland.
Yes. And in that Toronto game, Mel Stottlemyre's son Todd wins another one for the Toronto Blue Jays.
And the pitch high for a ball. Toronto with that win remaining a half game up on the Boston Red Sox.
I've done 3 or 4 Toronto Blue Jay ball club games. Toronto has possibly, I think, the best lineup in baseball with 4 switch hitters in a row.
Now Charlie Hayes to take on Howard Johnson's pop-up, and the Mets go in order. The score at the end of 4. The Phillies nothing, the Mets nothing. Now here's a word from Nissan.
This copyrighted telecast is authorized under the television grants granted by the New York Mets solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, or the use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets, Sterling Doubleday Enterprises, LP, and WWOR is prohibited. Any commercial or other use of the program, such as by charging admission for its showing, is also prohibited.
And as we go to the top of the 5th, the scoreless ball game, the leadoff batter for the Phillies will be John Kruk.
Ralph, I did it. I've always wanted to do a disclaimer, listening to you guys for many, many years, and I did it.
Probably one of the most important things you do in a broadcast. And now a swing at a fastball for strike 1.
Here I am all psyched up about doing it. You just kind of just blow it off like it's just, oh.
You're welcome to that thing. Anytime you want to come up here, you can read it.
No, thank you.
1 strike to count to Kruk, who grounded into a double play his first time up. He's hitting .305 against the Mets in his major league career. So we're working with Bill Robinson, who has reached his childhood desire to do a disclaimer on a baseball broadcast in the major leagues. There's a drive into the left field corner. It'll be extra bases. McReynolds over to head it off, and Kruk goes into second with a double. So the first hit for the Phillies, but a leadoff base hit.
That's read the disclaimer and work with the great Ralph Kiner and Tim McCarver, too. We had said earlier that John Kruk is great in hitting that ball to left field because of his stance. His stance is conducive to hitting the ball and not as a pull stance. McReynolds almost backhands this ball to throw John Kruk, or make an attempt to throw John Kruk out at second base.
Kruk now hitting .400 off the doctor in his major league career. He's 8 for 20. And that'll bring up Charlie Hayes. Hayes walked his first time up with a 3-2 pitch. And the fastball, a called strike.
Let's see if Charlie Hayes, what kind of a baseball player he is. Let's see if his thinking is to try to hit the ball to the right side, knowing that Dickie Thon, who's a pretty good fastball hitter and not too bad of an RBI man, can come up. Let's see if Charlie Hayes plays the game the way it's supposed to be played.
He had a good pitch on his first pitch to hit to right field, outside fastball. Now Gooden back inside, and he wasn't trying to hit the right there.
He was trying to make this game 2-0. Do you think you see that more so in today's baseball players? They try to drive in the runs, maybe because they know that the money does lie in the RBI, and they don't try to really play the game the way it's supposed to be played.
Bottom line is, how many do you win? And it has to be done in an organized manner. And there's a fastball, and that time Hayes was apparently tried to hit it to right, but didn't do it.
They had said that Charlie Hayes is a good two-strike hitter, and even on this pitch, you notice how he sort of cuts down on his swing a little bit. So that's a pretty good adjustment.
With this kind of power, I think if he is able to handle the bat that well, I think that was a good move to go ahead for the long ball, and then with 2 strikes try to move him over. And he tries to do it again there.
With 2 strikes again.
So a good idea for Hayes. You'd like to see that in young ball players. He was acquired from San Francisco. There's Dickie Thon, the on-deck batter, who is a very good contact hitter and a tough RBI man, like you said, Bill.
Now you talk about sweating, and on a hot day, Dwight Gooden will go probably through 2 or 3 of those uniforms and about 6 or 7 sweatshirts.
Gooden gets on top of the curveball. It's hit hard at Elster, but Kevin makes it look easy and picks up the out. Kruk has to hold at second.
Yeah, Dwight got away with another high-hanging curveball right here. And when you have 2 strikes, as Charlie Hayes just had on him, Charlie Hayes really cuts down on his swing, and he hit a bullet to Kevin Elster, but you're hitting it to the wrong man, Charlie Hayes. You got to hit it where they ain't.
Now it's Dickie Thon's turn. He flied out to center his first time up.
And he does look a little disappointed. He didn't do his job.
Thon has good power for a little man. He gets a good curveball in a good spot. Strike 1.
Dickie is just a stone fastball hitter. He looked pretty bad on that curveball there, pulling off the ball and trying really to hit a home run. He's a good fastball hitter. Dwight gets his curveball down. Good bite.
He led all the National League shortstops in home runs last year with 15. Second most by a Philadelphia Phillies shortstop. Granny Hamner hit 17 in 1952. The year of the Whiz Kids.
You know, his home run ratio last year was better than Eddie Murray and also Del Murphy.
Boy, line shot. He has a pretty good bat.
And Larry Boa has some pretty good reflexes too. Larry Boa was one of the best shortstops ever to play the game because he was always quick. And on this smash here, Bo, you better get out of the way. Good curveball, Dwight. Hung it inside just enough. And the only thing Dickie could do was just foul it off down the left field line.
In 1950, the Phillies played the Yankees in the World Series. They were known as the Whiz Kids. Casey Stengel called them the Quiz Kids. And a good fastball, a good strikeout for Doc Gooden as he gets Thon out of the strike zone.
The catcher, Darren Dalton.
Yeah, Dwight Gooden is a good curveball right here that sort of ties Dickie up. That's good morning. And here is good afternoon on another curveball. Gets 2 strikes, and this one right here is good night. You don't hit that pitch off Dwight Gooden up there.
So now Kruk is at second base with 2 men out, and Darren Dalton the batter. Dalton grounded out to the second baseman Jeffries his first time up.
And Nick Leva said that one of the faults of the Philadelphia Phillies is they possibly lead the league in left on base. If they get a man at second base, 2 outs later, he's still on second base. Of course, you have Dwight Gooden out on the mound that's kind of dealing right now. But they have not done anything really to move the guy over.
And there's your answer right there. They left more runners on base, 528, than any other National League team. And the count 1-1 as Dalton swings through the fastball.
Now, they can get him on, but they're just having some trouble getting him in. And with their pitching staff that has been a little suspect and has been in and out all year, you've got to take advantage of these.
Ball hit right back to Gooden, and after Kruk leads off with a double, he's still at second base when the inning is over. The score at the end of 4.5 innings, it's the Phillies nothing, the Mets nothing. Now here's a word from your Dodge dealers. Well, a full house here tonight as we move along to the bottom half of the 5th inning. A scoreless ball game, a real pitcher's duel. Both sides with only one hit, and Kevin Elster, the lead it off for the Mets. Elster flied to center field his first time up against Pat Combs. Has an idea about bunting, but takes for ball 1.
Yeah, if the Mets continue to beat on the ball the way they are, I mean, Kevin Elster doesn't want to be more or less the odd man out. All he has to do is play a good defense, which he will do. You want to be strong up the middle in order to win this thing. But Kevin Elster has been swinging the bat a little better of late, as evident of that pitch right there.
May 6th, he was hitting .088. He's now at 189. But his production numbers are pretty good in the power departments. 5 home runs, 29 runs batted in.
Just when you think you have Kevin Elster buried, he comes back and he does something like that. He comes back and hits a home run or drives in a key run for the team.
And the fastball for ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike.
The thing that he has to remember is you are not going to hit 300 tomorrow. You have to take one at bat at a time, one game at a time.
Hit 300 in the minors before he came to the Mets. He's big and strong enough to do a job of, say, 280 a year.
I'd say between 260, 270. If he could hit 260, 270, Kevin Elster will make $2 million a year.
This ball hit in foul territory.
Of course, nowadays you can hit 150 and 170 and make $2 million a year.
So a full count to Kevin Elster. 0 for 4 in last night's game, so he's 0 for 5 so far in the series. Tomorrow, Abo Heaton on the mound for the Mets against starving Marvin Friedman.
That's what they call him, folks.
Hard base hit. So Elster with a leadoff base hit here in the 5th.
The catcher, Orlando Mercado.
Yeah, this is a fastball or some kind of a screwball right there for Kevin, and Kevin just stayed on that ball and just beats it past Dickie Thon into left field.
That puts a runner at first for Orlando Mercado, who hit a hard smash to third and was thrown out his first time up. Mercado hitting in the 8th position in the batting order with Gooden up next, so he's in a hitting situations. He takes the curveball for ball 1. Mets have won 11 of their last 13 games, 13 of their last 16, and they've won their last 4.
And they've won the games against the team. Of course, you always have to try to win, but they've won against the team that they should beat in this tough in their division in the National League East.
Started out by winning the series against Montreal, then Pittsburgh, then Chicago, then Pittsburgh, and then St. Louis.
And have a chance to win this one. That's playing some baseball right there.
And a strike call. It's 2-1 off speed pitch. Good pitch by Pat Combs.
It sure was. Normally you get a guy that's a little anxious and he'll jump at that pitch right there, but Pat just takes a little bit off and just hits that corner right there. It's a good thing that Mercado didn't try to go after that ball. He'd probably hit into a double play on that one.
There goes the runner, and the ball is fouled back out of play. So Bud Harrelson putting the hit and run on. Ulster back to first after the foul ball.
Do it, buddy. You're trying to manufacture runs. You know that Dwight Gooden has his stuff together tonight, and you got to get some guys in scoring position, because after Dwight, you have your big boys coming up.
Are they still using the same set of signs they had when you were here?
It looked like it.
They don't change signs when you come in.
All right.
I was going to say, whenever a player is traded, they change signs. This one hit off the end of the bat, and Tommy Hurd back to get it. Good play by Hurd. He got a good jump on that one.
No, I was just kidding you. I'm sure that they've changed the signs from Davey to Buddy, but a lot of that time when Buddy was doing all those things, they're just more or less decoys. You do some things, especially on some hit and runs. Sometimes the hit and run is set up the pitch before. It's more of a sign that you put a hit and run on, and you're telling the third base coach, if that next pitch is a ball, then the hit and run is automatically on. I don't have to do anything on that pitch.
Now Doc Gooden in a bunting situation, throw to first. Gooden singled and had the only hit until Ulster led off in the fifth with a base hit. And it's way high for ball one. Gooden's a type of pitcher as a hitter that you can switch and let him hit away when the count goes his way.
I was just thinking that this is not a bad opportunity right here. This is a pretty good situation to go ahead and hit and run. Dwight has just shown Buddy that, hey, I can hit the ball. I got a nice base hit. I hit the ball to right field.
And now he has a count at 2-0, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they let him hit away.
If not hit away, to go ahead and use the play that they practice an awful lot, to where the third baseman is charging and go ahead and just slap that ball right by him.
You know, they've often talked and still do about the fact that modern-day players don't work hard and practice all the plays. That's not really true, is it?
No, it's not. They practice. The only problem is that during the grueling season, you have a little trouble of working. It's hot. It's 100 degrees out here, and it's kind of tough to get all the guys out, because you know that they have to play a game. Most of the plays are done in spring training, all the practice plays. Now at times you get a few guys out and do some fundamentals, and this is a good fundamental bunt by Dwight Gooden, where he gets his bat out. You don't have to try to be too fine. Just lay the ball down and do your job. And he did it.
So the sacrifice puts a runner in scoring position for Mark Carrion, who has walked the 2 times he's been up. John Kruk throwing to Tommy Hurd, takes the throw on the back. And the curveball swung on and missed. Scoreless ball game. The Mets with a runner at second. Third time they've had a runner in scoring position. And it's ball one, 1 ball, 1 strike.
I'm sure the Phillies, as we look at Dave Magadan on deck, I'm sure the Phillies have to be very, very pleased with the way Pat Combs has pitched, shutting down this high-powered offense with an assortment of off-speed pitches, and as I'd said before, keeping all the hitters off balance.
And this one lined in the right center field, it'll score a run. Ulster comes in to score, and Carrion puts the Mets up 1-0 as he singles with 2 men out.
And as I had said before, the only bad pitch that Pat Combs makes is a high sort of nothing pitch up right there. It will look like a hanging slider. It's a good thing Mark Carrion didn't drive that ball in the gap, but he did just enough to drive in the Mets' first run.
So the RBI puts the Mets up 1-0 and brings up Dave Magadan, who was robbed of an extra base hit his last time up and is 0 for 2 today. Brought an 11-game hitting streak into the game, hitting .512 over the 11 games. And it's ball one.
Now, as we had said before on Mark Carrion, he's very fidgety at the plate. Let's look at Dave Magadan here, how nice and quiet Dave Magadan is. Dave Magadan, to me, has always reminded me he does everything in slow motion. He talks slow, he moves slow. Of course, he's not fast of foot, and he swings the bat sometimes, or he's starting to swing the bat now with more authority. But before, Dave Magadan even swung the bat slowly.
And he takes that curveball for a strike, so they count 1-1.
And he's always had a good eye at the plate. When you have slow feet and then quick hands, it allows you, slow feet allows you to see the ball, and quick hands allows you to react to the ball.
There goes the runner, and the pitch taken. The throw by Dalton is way offline. And a stolen base for carry-on. And again, the Mets with a runner in scoring position.
So now you see the new difference in the Mets. The Mets are real aggressive now. The Mets are running. The Mets are hitting and running more. The Mets are making things happen. They are manufacturing runs.
Carry-on gets his 7th stolen base.
Buddy Harrelson, you are a genius.
And Magadan with a count of 1-2 and a chance with a runner in scoring position to pick up an RBI.
And isn't this funny, the way the game works, or the way life works? When things are going well for you, you just go ahead and try those things. Go ahead and not to be afraid. When they're going bad for you, as they are for Don Zimmer. Don Zimmer did the same thing last year as he's doing this year, but this year everything is backfiring on him.
And it all started in the playoff games.
Yes, that's called buzzer's luck. That's when you can't kill nothing and won't nothing die.
If it wasn't for bad luck, you'd have no luck at all. Huh?
Amen, brother.
So Chuck Hiller, the third base coach for the Mets. And a check swing, and the ball is grounded foul. And there's another thing that happens when you're hitting well. You get fooled totally by a pitch, and you ground the ball foul instead of fair.
Right. If you're hitting 200, that ball trickles fair every time.
You're out.
That's one of the most embarrassing situations in the world, to have a check swing. You're falling out away from the ball, and you really check your swing, and you hit a little dribbler back to the pitcher. Now you know that your heart's really not in it, but you know that you got to try to run as hard as you can to first base.
One ball, 2 strikes. Mets leading 1-0. A runner at second, 2 men up. We're in the bottom half of the 5th inning. And again, he's fooled with the pitch and manages to foul it off to the right. Count stays at 1-2.
Yeah, he's really fooled, and that's quite surprising with the way Dave Magadan has been swinging the bat. Those 2 pitches were very, very hittable if you try to do what you're capable of doing, Dave, and that is to drive the ball to left field. When pitches are away and you're hitting the ball well and you're staying on the ball, go ahead and hit the ball to left field. Those 2 pitches really looked like he was so fooled out front and trying to pull everything.
Left fielder and center fielder very shallow against Magadan. And the fastball for ball 2, 2-2. Never saw Dykstra play that shallow. How about you, Bill?
That's true. Lenny Dykstra is doing everything. Of course, Lenny is playing the hitters a little bit better. When I had him here, you try to move him in and move him back and do all things, and Lenny would move back 1 step or move in 3 steps and move back 4. Lenny is totally in the ball game. That's what he's doing.
And again, Magadan manages to fight off a tough pitch, and the count stays at 2-2. Sometimes it takes a trade and the possibility of another. As he had a bad year for the Phillies, they were willing to trade him to anybody. They talked about the California Angels.
And it takes that last year of your contract too. That'll do something.
That's a motivating force. There's no question there.
Yeah, Lenny has a chance to go to arbitration for the first time this next year.
Combs having trouble getting together with his catcher Dalton. So another set of signs.
And it's always the second sign after 1 or so. The second sign with the man on second base.
This ball hit deep to right field, way back. Von Hayes on the warning track, and he makes the play. So a well-hit ball pulled hard by Magadan, but Von Hayes turns it into an out, and that will end the inning. But the Mets get 1 run on 2 hits. They leave 1 at second. And the score at the end of 5, it's the Mets 1, the Phillies nothing. Now here's a word from one of our sponsors. Well, now is the time for Raymond Nowlin of Hamilton, New Jersey. Mark Carey on just over the base, and Raymond is now in the drawing for a new Nissan 300ZX. He entered the Nissan stolen base game at his participating Nissan dealer. Why don't you? As Pat Combs steps into the batter's box, there's Carey on with a stolen base.
That Hamilton, New Jersey is my neck of the woods down in South Jersey.
And Combs swings and misses as Doc Gooden starts off with a fastball. Combs struck out his first time up. Gooden got him with a fastball. The Doc has had 3 strikeouts. He has allowed 1 base hit, a double by John Kruk. That was a leadoff double in the 5th. The Mets leading 1-0. They've had only 3 hits. And that pitch a called strike 2. Phillies a surprising ball club as well as the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Larry Boa said that if they had any kind of pitching at all, and if their pitching had been consistent, they could be 12 games over 500.
The 2-strike pitch hit out to the second base side. Jeffries on the outfield grass, and Combs is on. So 1 away. And we'll go to the top of the batting order, and Lenny Dykstra.
The 2 outs that Lenny has made have been on pretty good curveballs from Dwight Gooden. Let's see if he continues. You try to blow a fastball by Lenny Dykstra. It's like trying to sneak the sun by a rooster.
So Dykstra with a strikeout and a ground out, batting for the 3rd time. Came into this game hitting .382 to lead Major League Baseball. And the fastball that time, and he pops it up. Elster out into left field, but McReynolds right there. And Dykstra a quick out.
And the thing that's been surprising, how the way Lenny Dykstra sort of crowds the plate, and not more guys haven't pitched Lenny Dykstra inside. Of course, when you're Dwight Gooden and you have a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, you can do things like this. This ties Lenny up. You see where he brought his hands in and just tried to stroke that ball to left field, but he got under it a little bit too much.
Head of the bat dragging behind, popping the ball up. So Dykstra 0 for 3 tonight, and that'll bring up Tom Herr, who's 0 for 2. Herr lined out his last time up. Elster making a nice play on it. And the curveball, a strike.
Talked to Mel Stottlemyre at length today about Dwight, and he said you'll see a sort of a different Dwight. He has that good, always had that good fastball, but the thing Dwight is learning to do now, and you know, we kind of take it, I guess the Met fans sort of took it for granted. Every time Dwight Gooden was going to go out there, he would just try to blow everyone away. Well, it looks like Dwight now is no longer a thrower. He is a pitcher.
Bob Gibson said when he had that 24-4 year, that's as good as he's going to get. And that was not prophetic. It was true. Can't have a year like that.
Yes. And again, that good heater up, because what did he do the pitch before? He took a little bit off, had Tom Herr out in front.
One and 2, the count to Tom Herr. Mets leading 1-0, 2 men out. We're in the top of the 6th inning. And the curveball hit to Elster, the shortstop. He's throwing much better now as he guns it over the first from the overhand throw. He had been throwing sidearm because of that sore shoulder. And the Phillies go in order. The score at the end of 5.5 innings. The Mets won, the Phillies nothing. Now here's a word from the Wiz. Bottom of the 6th inning. Bob Kiner along with Bill Robinson, who is sitting in for Tim McCarver. And we understand Tim's on his way from the airport to come in here for the final part of the ball game. Right there, it's Montreal 3, Pittsburgh nothing. Bottom half of the 3rd inning. If Montreal wins, they go into first place.
A new divisional leader.
They too have been a tremendous surprise. And Greg Jeffries, the batter, a swing and a miss at strike 1. Jeffries 0 for 2 is grounded out and fly to left. Doc going for the dry shirt. pleasant night for baseball, not too warm. Summer night. Pat Combs, a pitcher, and that pitch gets away from him. 1 ball and 1 strike. Mets manufactured a run in the 5th inning, and the only run of the game as Combs misses low. Elster led off the inning with a single, was still at first base when Mercado popped it up to the second baseman. Then Gooden sacrificed to put a runner in scoring position. And with 2 men out, Mark Carrion singled to right center to put the Mets up. Ground ball foul.
And as we had just seen that graphic, that Greg Jefferies has only struck out 17 times in 279 at bats. I'll bet he had this time last year, and hats off possibly to Mike Cubbage, because this time last year he probably struck out at least 50 times in 279 at bats.
Well, the big change came when he was put in the leadoff position. He started looking at pitches. He used to chase an awful lot of high fastballs last year. He was really pressing, trying to live up to that Rookie of the Year honor.
Sure.
That he had been given before the season started. He did finish 3rd in the balloting. There he goes after a high fastball and fouls it off.
And we all know, or everyone sort of knows, that he's always put a good second half together in the last couple of years. This year he's putting a good first half together, and if he can go ahead and have a good second half as he has had in the past, there's no telling what Greg Jefferies can do.
3-2 pitch, and he gets a piece of it. Count remains at 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, that could have been ball 4 right there, but I like that aggressive approach to try to stay on top of that ball. One thing that makes Greg Jefferies a good hitter, like your Kirby Puckett, and you don't want to put Greg Jefferies yet in that kind of a mold, is he has short arms, and I've always been a believer that guys with short arms, very seldom will he get jammed. He can always get that club head out when you have short arms.
3rd walk given up by Pat Combs. It puts a runner at first base with no one out and brings up Darryl Strawberry. Strawberry 0 for 2 has grounded out. Flat out to deep left. And it's pulled foul for strike 1. Darryl bringing an 11-game hitting streak into this game.
And we talked before about Darryl's approach to the game. Darryl's become a good off-speed hitter and a good low fastball hitter. Why? Because when he sets up a little bit, Darryl has a tendency, he's always had that back elbow up in the air a little bit too much, and then he has a tendency to tilt the club head a little bit toward the pitcher. So therefore, on his swings, it's almost like a golf swing when you have that back elbow up.
And he takes outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Just don't throw him anything low right here. This game could be 3-0 if you try to throw him something low and inside.
Last 25 games, 10 home runs, 26 runs batted in. And the off-speed pitch for ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike. This ball hit deep to right center field. It's going. It is gone. Goodbye. 2-run home run by Darryl Strawberry, and the Mets lead it 3-0.
Darryl Strawberry is sending a message to someone. This pitch is up. I kind of lied a little bit. This pitch is up just a little bit. And you have to be strong to hit a ball off the scoreboard. Watch how he sort of coils that bat. The pitch is right around the belt, a little bit up, but that is the picture-perfect swing. And when you hit a ball like that and you're running around the bases, what a great feeling, because you know that all 40-some thousand people, who are they yelling at or who are they screaming for? Of course, Ralph, you've trotted around the bases many, many, many times, and isn't that a great feeling?
It's the ultimate in baseball. There's no doubt about it. His 15th home run, his 41st RBI. And he has just been red hot.
And keeps that hitting streak alive, too.
12 straight ball games. He now has hit 11 home runs in his last 26 games.
I mean, you just look at his face, how bright and how cheerful he is now. Not only because not only because he hit the home run, but it just seems like even this whole year, you know, he's not moody. He comes to the ballpark. He's prepared to play. And I understand that Darryl is playing with reckless abandon. He makes a great catch yesterday. He's playing good defense. He's becoming the Darryl Strawberry that he wants to be, not what people expect him to be.
Well, Kevin McReynolds with a count at 2-1, the foul ball. Kevin has grounded out the 2 times he's been up.
I see he's sporting 2 parts in his hair, too. I understand Bobby Ojeda started that. That's more or less a sign of unity on the ball club.
And another foul ball. It's 2-2. Well, the Mets had the rally caps. It's always some gimmick that you like to go for.
Maybe you and Tim could do that as a sign of unity.
We're already unified.
I'm not doing it.
I need all the hair I can get. I'm not going to be cutting any of it out of there.
Yeah, I'll be 47 on Tuesday, and I'm starting to get a little thin up top too, Ralph.
3-2 the count. And it's ball 4, so the walk to Jeffries set up the 2-run home run for Strawberry, and now a walk here to McReynolds. 4th walk given up by Pat Combs. Incidentally, the home run he gave up was the 7th he has given up this year. Now the batter will be Howard Johnson.
Yeah, this could be it for Pat right here. Of course, maybe not with Howard. Howard is without a doubt a better hitter from the left side. And I'm sure Nick Leyva and his staff knows that Howard's having a little trouble from the right side because of that bad shoulder.
Pirates got a run back in the top of the 4th, so it's Montreal 3, the Pirates 1, with the Pirates batting in the top of the 4th inning. Ho Joe. And the first pitch, that little off-speed pitch for ball 1. Howard has popped up the 2 times he has been up.
He is a gamer, though. He very seldom will want out of the lineup. He'll go out there every day in and day out, hurt or not.
And a good pickup by Dalton.
And it looks like Pat Combs has just lost it now. That home run just took everything out of him. He's not even getting the fastball or off-speed pitches up to the plate now. Scored at least 3 runs in all 21 games this month. You do that and you'll win some ball games.
And the Mets have done that. There's a one fastball in there for a call strike. 2-1. You seldom see Howard take a fastball.
That's surprising right there, Howard. That's sort of just a little bit of lack of concentration right there. Maybe trying to be too fine. You're an aggressive kind of a hitter. You must stay aggressive.
And a throw to first. Combs seldom throws over to first base with a runner on.
You better watch McReynolds, too. You all know that he has good speed.
Drive hit hard, but foul down the left side. So the count 2-2. So Lenny Dykstra in center field, watching that drive of Strawberry go over the right field fence. Dykstra, of course, all those little moves that he makes.
Is that word peripatetic that you guys talk about all the time?
He travels around. Can't really call traveling much when you go from New York to Philly, though. That's not much of a trip. You do it all the time.
Oh, sure. But he's always in motion, though. He's always fidgety or something.
Now, Combs can't get together with his catcher, Dalton. So they talk it over. Combs had a pitching coach that was a great major league pitcher, Sid Hudson. Pitched in the American League for many, many years, an outstanding American League pitcher. Darrell Ackerfeld, the right-hander. Dennis Cook is the left-hander. Cook was in last night's ball game. They brought him in, and he promptly walked 2 batters to force in a run. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And another one in the dirt. Good play again by Dalton.
And Darren Dalton has vastly become one of the better defensive catchers in the game, and his hitting has picked up a little bit. And this is nothing more than shifting your body and keeping your body in front of the ball.
Combs has made 7 wild pitches, and Dalton has saved him about 4 here tonight.
And this could be his last batter. As a matter of fact, I'll go out on a limb, Ralph, and say that this is probably his last batter.
There goes the runner. 3-2 pitch, ball 4, and that should get him out of there. It will. 3 walks in the inning. And a 2-run home run by Darryl Strawberry. Combs did not strike out a batter in working 5 and a few batters into the 6th. No one out here. Runners now at first and second base. Mets leading 3-0. And the sign has been made, and he'll go to the bullpen. So while we wait for the new pitcher to come into the ball game, here's a word from Kingford Charcoal. Well, a new pitcher in the game for the Phillies, right-hander Darrell Ackerfeld. Darrell with Texas in '89.
Darrell with a 2-0 record, ERA of 2.17, bases on balls 26, strikeouts 15, hit 16 in 31.1 innings pitched. They said that Darrell Ackerfeld is the best reliever on the team, with Roger McDowell struggling and also Jeff Parrott struggling. This young man has come in and done one fine job for the Philadelphia Phillies.
And his first batter will be Kevin Elster. Speaking of Roger McDowell, he has a record of 2-2 with 13 saves, but an earned run average is 6.17. Pat Combs out of the ball game, and this is his reaction. Big blow, a 2-run home run after a walk to Jeffries by Darryl Strawberry.
And those walks and home runs naturally too will get you out of the ball game, but after that home run, he just started flipping the ball up there. He really didn't go after any of the hitters.
So runners at first and second for Kevin Elster, and he gets a high slider for ball 1.
Yeah, that's his out pitch. He has a real good tight slider that he keeps that ball down. That one he didn't, but he normally keeps that ball down and away. Right now, Nick Leyva is saying, I'll have to bring in one of my better stoppers because I'm going to try to prevent more scoring by the New York Mets.
And he goes again to the breaking ball. 2-0 the count. Ackerfeld was picked up by the Phillies for money, just for cash. They didn't have to give up a ball player for him. With Texas last year, he was 0-1 with no saves. His lifetime record in the American League, 2 wins, 7 losses, and no saves, with an earned run average of 6.23. So his background doesn't indicate a lot of talent. But this ball popped up, and Charlie Hayes at third base makes the catch in foul territory.
Yeah, that wasn't a real good pitch for Kevin to hit. That ball was sort of tailing in on him a little bit and up just a tad, and he's very, very disappointed. He knows
that was a big out to get right.
Yes, it was a good big out.
First out of the inning, runners at first and second. This game certainly isn't put away. The Mets only leading 3-0. They've only had 4 hits. Now the batter will be Orlando Mercado, who is 0 for 2. And the slider again for ball 1. Mercado hit a hard smash to third that was turned into an out by Hayes, and then almost had a bloop base hit into shallow right field, but Tommy Herr went back to catch it over the shoulder. And the fastball fouled back, so they count 1-1. Doc Gooden, the on deck batter. Doc working on a 1-hitter. Big crowd here tonight. 45,661 paid. We're seeing a good ball game. Total in the house 46,916. Second big crowd here with the Phillies. Last night 43,587 paid.
And the Mets keep
slider there.
The Mets keep winning the way they are, and these people will come in droves. These are good fans here in New York. They know their baseball. They love their baseball. They're a little tough at times, but when that team is winning, there's no better fans in baseball.
The Eastern Seaboard with the best fans in baseball.
Yes. And I do an awful lot of traveling now with ESPN up and down the Eastern Seaboard, doing a lot of games, and you know, from Boston and even in Montreal and Toronto. You can't get a ticket in Toronto.
So the fly ball to Dykstra for the second out. Ackerfell's picking up 2 quick outs. Mets still with runners at first and second. Now the batter will be Doc Gooden.
The pitcher,
Gooden with a base hit. As a matter of fact, he had the first hit of the game for the Mets. He also has sacrificed successfully. That set up the first run for the Mets. So he is 1 for 1 tonight. And the slider popped up into an area back of second base. Over there is the shortstop, Dickie Thon, and he makes the play. So Ackerfeld does a great job coming in after the Mets had taken a 3-0 lead. In the inning, 2 runs on 1 hit, the home run by Darryl Strawberry with a man on base. 2 men were left, and the score at the end of 6 innings of play here. The Mets 3 and the Phillies nothing. Coming in to join Bill Robinson for the play-by-play, Tim McCarver. But first, this word from your tri-state Lincoln Mercury dealers.
Hi, Billy. How are you?
How you doing, Timmy?
I'll tell you what, I feel like Joel Youngblood. I don't know whether these are going to be hits or not, but on August 4th, 1982, Youngblood had a hit in Chicago, was traded by the Mets, and he joined the Montreal Expos with the Philadelphia Phillies. He got a hit that night to become the only guy with 2 hits in 2 different towns.
And I get to work with 2 talents like you and Ralph Kiner. Oh boy, I'm in hog heaven.
That's living, isn't it?
Von Hayes takes ball 1, 3-0 Mets. A 2-run home run by Darryl Strawberry, and I guess you could say Darryl got all of that.
You got to be strong to hit one off that scoreboard.
Inside to Hayes, ball 2, 2-0, 3-0 Mets.
And the job that Dwight Gooden is doing, he has 79 pitches, and he's only thrown 26 balls and 53 strikes.
3 strikeouts, 2 bases on balls tonight. Kind of a strange game for the Mets to be locked up in as Hayes takes ball 3. in that the Mets have been scoring so many runs. The wins lately have been more like 9-6, 10-7, things like that.
The Mets have always been able to do that when they're hitting well. When they're not hitting well, then the pitching comes through. When they're hitting well, then the pitching maybe falters a little bit.
3-1 to Hayes.
They've always been a kind of team that they could beat you 1-0, or they can slug with you and beat you 21-22 or something like that.
One of the problems earlier in the year, as a matter of fact, their starting pitching was not getting through the 5th inning. Grounded foul, full count to Hayes, 3-2.
Yes, in the past, the pitching has always been the dominant thing with the New York Mets. This year, it took the hitting maybe to wake up the pitching.
Well, they have done that over the last 2.5 weeks. I don't know if you and Ralph talked about it or what you and Ralph talked about. I just got here. But Buddy Harrelson certainly has had something to do. How much remains to be seen. This one popped up and out of play, still 3-2 to Hayes.
You never know, but you got to give the man credit.
That's right.
Buddy Harrelson is the right man in the right spot, and I think that's what life is all about. He came in, interjected some new thoughts. I think the biggest thing and the smartest thing that Buddy Harrelson did is not to come in and make a wholesale change, to come in and mold a little bit to your team and then interject little thoughts and ideas along the way.
One of those little thoughts, for instance, is having Darryl Strawberry carry the lineup card up to home plate. That's a small thing. Still 3-2 to Hayes.
And they have a little thing going when Darryl Strawberry loses, then Howard Johnson. So I asked Buddy today, does that mean that you're naming these guys as co-captains? And Buddy said, no, I don't believe in captains. I believe in leaders. And again, little psychological ploys like that. You never know about today's professional athletes.
A lot of people think Von Hayes is one of the leaders of the Phillies. Certainly his numbers tell you so. 292, 9 home runs, 37 RBIs on the year. Still 3-2 to Hayes. Grounder to second. Easy play for Jeffries. 1 out here in the 7th inning. On the Nissan National League scoreboard, St. Louis over Chicago today 8-7, 3-1 Montreal over Pittsburgh in the 5th inning, 4-2 Houston over San Francisco, a final. In that game, by the way, Trevor Wilson left the game, so yet another injury to a San Francisco Giant pitcher. 5-3 San Diego over Bobby Cox in his debut down in Atlanta, and 9-5 Cincinnati over LA. Cincinnati with 8 runs in the 4th inning at Riverfront.
And that Trevor Wilson came within 1 out of pitching a no-hitter. And I watched that game. You guys did that game where he was covering first base and sort of got hung up on that AstroTurf and just really twisted his ankle.
Ball and no strikes to Ron Jones. Had he not twisted his knee here at Shea Stadium last year, the Phillies would have been in a lot better shape. 2 balls and no strikes. This guy can hit.
He has a sweet swing. He has a sweet swing. And we talked earlier, they said that as we see the Spike Owens committed an error in the 4th inning. Oh, Spike. Airless streak at 63 games.
2 balls and a strike to the powerful Ron Jones. What's happening here? What is it? No. Is this the end of the world? Ryan Sandberg makes an error yesterday. Ozzie Smith made one yesterday and today, and now Spike Owen. What's going on?
They have it so screwed up at shortstop. I guess the Met fans hope that Kevin Elster doesn't make a crucial error today. Yeah, we had talked about, they said that Ron Jones is the best acquisition, the best guy that they'd ever called up as far as potential goes until he hurt himself. And now you really don't know with him because of his bad knee. He has a knee brace. His running, he's not playing a good catch. Of course, he can't run. And you just wonder if you hurt that knee, it's really tough to turn on some balls.
From what we understand, Ron can't go from side to side. He can run in a straight line, but not side to side. A bad curveball by Gooden, and he kind of backs off toward the first base line. Looked like he may have gotten hung up on the mound or something.
That could have happened, and I know of about 5 or 6 people and also 49,000 people on them in this ballpark that sort of grimaced a little bit with Dwight and said, oh no, don't get hurt now. Not that we have, now that we have everything going for us, don't get hurt now.
3-2 to Jones. Ground ball, third base, bobbled by Johnson. The throw to first is low and by Magadan. I think it's going to be a base hit. As Jones doesn't advance, we'll see how it's going to be scored.
I think Dave Magadan should have picked this ball. Dave should have picked this ball only because when he took his stretch, he had his glove back behind his knee a little bit too much. There's a play there where, as Howard stays in front of the ball and he makes the throw, watch Dave when he stretches. Watch where his glove is. Back by his knee. If he extends maybe a little bit more, I think that Dave might have a chance to come up with this ball.
It was a tough play for Johnson. The ball looked like it hit from a left-handed batter. It was squirting away from him. Yeah. You don't know whether to get in front of a ball like that or backhand it. And by the time Hojo recovered, the in-between throw to Magadan has scored an error on Howard Johnson. And here's John Kruk. Kruk with the only hit in the ball game for the Phillies.
And it was a curveball out over the plate that he drove majestically sort of to left field. And we talked about John Kruk, his ability not really to be able to turn on the ball. And I really feel that because he's so open with that front foot, now he has to when he strides. And I really think that that makes him vulnerable right there. It makes him vulnerable to pitches that are inside. And they really need a big, strong guy like this to start hitting some home runs for him.
You got too many things to do. I think that's an excellent point. You got your feet, the hands, and everything.
Right. Look where his hands are, or look where his feet comes. Then he has to step toward home plate. Then on an inside pitch, you got to sort of open up that front foot again. So as you said, Tim, too many things to do at home plate.
1-1 to Kruk. 1 out. Jones at first. 3-0 Mets here in the top of the 7th inning. Capacity crowd on hand. Grounder in the hole, base hit. So Kruk has both of the Phillies hits, and the potential tying run coming up in the person of Charlie Hayes.
Another good swing, a fastball that Dwight throws sort of tailing away just a little bit. John just stays on the ball, and again, if you pitch him away, you're more or less doing him a favor, because that's all he wants to do is to try to hit that ball to left field.
John Kruk, throughout his career, has hit Dwight Gooden very well, as you can see.
He's a good fastball hitter, and Dwight is a fastball pitcher.
Kruk kind of a book hitter. He'll pull the breaking ball, pull the off-speed pitch, and hit the fastball the other way. Charlie Hayes with 5 home runs on the year is hitting with 2 on and 1 out here in the 7th. 3-0. Doc aired that one out. 0-1 to Hayes.
And that was a terrible swing too. Did you see where Charlie Hayes is? Charlie was just trying to tie this game up, but you will never hit a baseball when you fly open like this. Look where his head is. You know, I've always believed you keep your eyes on the Lord, but you can't keep your eyes on the Lord and hit a baseball. You got to hit what you see, or see to hit the ball, not looking up in the air.
Outside and high, 1-1 to Hayes.
And he's telling himself right there, hey, slow down a little bit. A home run will come when you least expect it, Charlie, not when you're trying to hit home runs.
Yeah, you're quicker when your shoulder's closed.
That's right. How many times have you hit a home run? Of course, probably not too many times.
Not often lately, especially.
You probably hit some of the longest balls, say, or hardest balls, when you have had 2 strikes on yourself, and you just try to put the bat on the ball.
Foul back, a ball and 2 strikes to Hayes.
Now, he had this situation the last at bat. There was a man on second base and no outs. The first 2 pitches, and Ralph and I commented on it, he's swinging profusely, but as soon as he got 2 strikes on himself, he cut down on his swing. Let's see if he does it now.
2 on, 1 out here in the 7th inning. Mets have been red hot. They've won 11 of their last 13. They entered tonight's action 3 games behind the Pirates. Pittsburgh losing to Montreal 3-1 up at the Big O. Doc is airing it out. 2-2. To the point where Mercado, that ball almost got by Orlando Mercado.
Yes, and that's a case too of, we talked about that Dwight's become a pitcher now and not a thrower. That time he was a thrower. He knows that Charlie Hayes is vulnerable to a fastball up, but not up that high.
Got him with the fastball up and in. 4 strikeouts now for Gooden. 2 outs. Charlie trying to do too much.
Yes,
I think you're right.
No question about it. As we look at the last 2 pitches, here's that fastball that's way up because he tries to throw the ball. Maybe, I don't know if Dwight is that smart. Maybe he was just planting a seed to say, well, I'm going to come up there again. Maybe that first pitch that he threw, maybe planted a seed in Charlie's head.
Charlie about a yard behind that last fastball. But I'll tell you, a guy who doesn't miss the high fastball is hitting right now, Dickie Thon.
His first time at bat on a fastball low, he hit a bullet. He'll turn on some fastballs. He's vulnerable to curveballs, but don't throw him a fastball.
Thon beat the Mets in a game last year, a game in which Randy Myers entered in the 10th inning.
I remember it well.
High fastball at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia.
The Mets had just come back to tie the game up. And in the bottom of the 10th inning.
Grounder left side. Elster quickly to Jeffries for the 3rd out. So Gooden pitching out of mild trouble here in the 7th. It's 3-0 Mets after 6.5 on our GE scoreboard. And we'll return right after this message. Fans, get out those trusty cameras because it's time for the 1990 Kodak New York Mets photo contest. You can enter your Kodak pictures in any one of the 4 categories. The grand prize winner will be named official Kodak Mets photographer of the day and will shoot batting practice and sit in the photo box throughout the game. Plus, 4 semifinal winners will have their pictures placed in the 1991 Mets yearbook. Look for details wherever Kodak films and batteries are sold or at Shea Stadium. The 1990 Kodak New York Mets photo contest. You can enter today. As Mark Carrion enters the batter's box here in the bottom of the 7th with the Mets on top. 3-0. Darrell Ackerfeld is the pitcher in relief of Pat Combs. 0-1 to Carrion, who is 1 for 1, 2 walks, a base hit to center that scored the first run of the game, and a stolen base. Good night for Mark.
It has been. It'll be very interesting to see too if Buddy does make a change and maybe puts Darrell Boston in center field. A 3-run lead. Kind of want to get your best defense in there now.
I'll tell you what, Bill, Darrell Boston has played the best defensive center field since I've been here in 1983. He has been the best defensive center fielder since I've been here.
Why is that? What has he done? What has he done differently that you've seen?
Kruk makes an easy play on the ball from Carrion. Number 1, he plays shallow, which gives him a chance to go back on the ball. He goes back on the ball beautifully. He hits the cutoff man. Somebody has gotten that young man right there and trained him properly.
And the Mets more or less stole this young man
too. Acquired on waivers the 30th of April. And really, I think everybody had the feeling that Darrell is going to be here until something happens. And he has impressed everybody with his play, defensively and offensively. As Dave Magadan takes ball 1. When
the Mets got rid of Lenny Dykstra and Mookie Wilson, there was a definite need. They tried to work in Keith Miller. They're using Mark Carrion now. So they really needed, and it really helped because Darrell Boston is a left-hander. So they've always been a platoon kind of a team in center field.
And that's a funny thing. That's the reason Dykstra and Wilson weren't happy here, because they had that platoon with Mookie being a switch hitter. Lenny unfavorably going to the Phillies, unfavorably from a fan standpoint. Mookie also a very popular player. And Keith Miller eventually becomes a starting center fielder. And now especially against right-handed pitching, he's been ousted. And now with Carrion doing as well as he has, Miller's kind of the odd man out.
Well, Keith Miller now, to my understanding, and they're thinking about the Jose Kendo of the New York Mets, maybe to work him in, and he could play all positions. I think the biggest thing is both of the center fielders. In Darrell Boston's case, he struggled all of his career. In Mark Carrion's case, he's younger. So I think that Buddy can milk that a little bit more, because the guys have struggled. They have not been star players as maybe a Lenny Dykstra or a Mookie Wilson. They won't be quite as discontent.
Excuse me, Bill. 3-2 to Magadan, 1 out, 3-0 Mets. And being traded to a new organization breathes life into your professional system. You were traded to the Pirates and you were never the ball player before until you were traded to the Pirates, and you ended, I mean, that breathed life into your career.
And the same thing too, it took Lenny Dykstra a year to acclimate himself. I think Lenny last year went to Philadelphia, the team was losing. Lenny just had, his wife just had a baby boy. He was living in a hotel. She was up here in New York. So it's kind of tough. You know, ball players are human beings too, and they have personalities, they have egos, and they have things to do. But you know, when they make an out or do something, millions of people know about it, but they don't know what the innards are of a professional baseball player.
Still 3-2 to Magadan.
Did that sound okay?
Oh, sure. I know exactly what you, but you know, and I'm not trying to be contrary to what you're saying, but Mookie Wilson goes up to Toronto. He's on the cover of Maclean's in 6 weeks, the national magazine of Canada. I mean, you just never know. It's understandable when a player does poorly, but you just never know. I mean, a player could add the spark that a team needs to get into the playoffs, as Wilson did last year with the Blue Jays.
Right. How did you do when you went to the Philadelphia Phillies? Did you feel revitalized?
As Jeffries takes strike one, well, mine was a different type of revitalization because I had an appendage named Steve Carlton. That kind of helped. Ball 1-1-1. I mean, lefty, at that time, all I did differently was call for the slider, and lefty could throw a pretty good slider. That's all I did. I walked around with 3 fingers hanging down for 4 years. It was fun. Jeffries down on the ground ball as the Phillies go in order. But after 7, or the Mets go in order, after 7, it's 3-0 New York, and we'll be back after this from Bud Drive. Three to nothing, Mets on top here in the top of the 8th. Well, let's take a look at the American Express financial update. The Dow Jones, as of Friday, down $45.50. Standard & Poor's Index down about $5. Gold down 40 cents. And silver down a penny. That's our American Express financial update here in the top of the 8th. Darren Dalton will be leading it off for the Phillies. Darren 0 for 2. The Phillies with just 2 hits. Doc Gooden's strongest performance of the year so far. This one hit sharply to second. Nice play, Jeffries, and he gets Dalton. 1 out. Nissan American League scoreboard. Boston pressing Toronto. Boston and Toronto win, so Boston still a half game behind the Blue Jays. Minnesota over Kansas City 3-0 in the 5th. Milwaukee over Cleveland 5-0 in the 2nd. 5-0 Chicago over Oakland. So they're 2 back. They won't give up, will they?
No, they won't.
Detroit at California later on. Seattle at Texas 1-0, with Texas batting in the bottom of the 1st, as Randy Reddy will be the pinch hitter for Darrell Ackerfeld. Reddy acquired from San Diego last season.
And another pretty good fastball hitter too. He can turn on some pitches with his pronounced open stance. This is another guy that, in order to do that, players get me, and I know that the new hitting instructor, Walt Rainiac has everyone doing things differently. But I think guys at times make it a little too complicated than it is. To me, to stand with your foot that pronounced, that open, and have to dive into home plate, I was always taught that I want to stride always, most of the times, toward the pitcher. And when you open that front foot and you have to dive toward home plate, it's going to make you vulnerable. The pitch is inside. Then you start becoming vulnerable. The pitch is inside, start pulling off the ball. And what do these National League pitchers do? They start throwing your pitches away. Then you're vulnerable to 2 things.
The fastballs have been away to Reddy, a ball and 2 strikes. Another one away is fouled back. That ball kind of ran back in on the inside
right,
part.
That ball tied him up too.
Yeah, if your objective is to have your shoulder pointed toward the pitcher, why do you start out with your shoulder pointed more toward the 3rd baseman?
Right, and then to come back in, that's all wasted motion to me.
Right.
You want to always try to eliminate wasted motion.
Curveball is just high. 2-2 to Reddy. 3-0 Mets here in the top of the 8th inning.
Now, again, I'm not picking, as we see the league leading Lenny Dykstra, I'm not picking on him. But as a former hitting instructor and still a student of hitting, you try to look at different things, and you try just to analyze and to tell the fans something that maybe you might not want to do that. I will say that in defense of Randy, his foot was open, but just as the pitch started coming, he started inching it to the proper, in my estimation, to the proper. Watch how he inches his foot just a little bit right there. Now, that's not too bad, but again, if you're going to put your foot right there, why not keep it there to begin with?
Well, the curveball was a nasty one from Gooden. So Reddy down on strikes. That's 5 strikeouts for the doctor. And Len Dykstra, the batter. Lenny 0 for 3 on the evening, entering the game batting .382. 3-0 Mets here in the top of the 8th.
Mel Stottlemyre told me before the game started, one of Dwight's big objectives was to keep Lenny Dykstra and Tom Herr off the bases because of their base stealing potential, and Dwight has had trouble holding guys on, although we have not seen it as yet. Dwight has been working with Mel on picking guys off, so but the way he's shown today, they haven't had many guys on first base.
No.
But he's done his job today.
That was the thing about Doc until 1986. He never really had to work on any kind of move to first. Nobody ever got on against him with any consistency.
Right. And you see he's only thrown 6 fly ball outs. White has always been a fly ball kind of an out pitcher because he throws everything hard and up. Now he's taking a little bit off, putting a little bit on, and he's become a pitcher now and not just a thrower.
That often happens after arm injuries. Gooden's last start last year was July 1st. He did have several relief appearances in the latter part of the season. Did not go under the knife during the offseason, but his shoulder required rest.
See if he throws that curveball again. I wanted to say that right there, Tim. He's gotten Lenny Dykstra off-speed pitches, curveballs for 3 outs.
Nice call. 3 up, 3 down again for the Phillies. After 7.5, Gooden in complete control. He leads 3-0, and we'll be back after this from Manufacturers Hanover. The other half of the Dykstra-McDowell tandem that went to Philadelphia for Juan Samuel. Unusual numbers for a short reliever, Bill.
Roger started out well, and in the last month or so, he just can't get anyone out. As you see, 2-2 with a 6.17 ERA. One thing I always remember that Vern Hoscheit, that was here for many, many years, had always told me, and that sinker ball pitchers, he never liked sinker ball pitchers as stoppers. I guess because that if you lose your sinker ball, what else do you have to go to? That really made a lot of sense. And again, I'm not saying that Roger McDowell is far from that, but that's something that has always stuck into my mind. If I'm a good high fastball hitter or a good high fastball pitcher and I'm a stopper, then my last resort I can go to a sinker. But can a sinker ball pitcher go to anything else? It
seems that more relievers now, especially short relievers, have developed that split finger fastball or the high fastball, and it changes the eye level of a hitter. Fastball outside the Strawberry. I was talking to Al Jackson, formerly with the Mets, and he was talking about a Baltimore pitcher in the last 2 weeks who developed a slider to change the eye level of a hitter. And I've never really heard it spoken about exactly like that, but that really makes sense. Everything that Roger McDowell throws is in the same area.
It's always in the same area. And then when you have the tendency to overthrow, you keep that ball up, and Roger has to keep that ball down. There was a case right there.
2 balls and a strike to Darryl Strawberry. Strawberry's 15th home run, a 2-run shot in the 6th.
As we see this last pitch, a sinker that's supposed to, and that's right there. Darryl Strawberry is a notorious low ball hitter, and Roger throws that sinker that didn't sink a whole lot right there for Darryl.
That fastball backed up over the inside corner. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Three-0 Mets here in the bottom of the 8th. Pittsburgh's losing 3-1 in Montreal. Changeup, strike 3.
Now that's Roger McDowell there. If Roger McDowell can do things like that, he knows that Darryl's setting on dead red, and all he has to do is change the eye level or change that bat speed of a hitter. when you continually try to just blow everyone away as a sinker ball pitcher. Randy Myers can do that. Dwight Gooden can do that because that's all they throw is gas.
Rob Dibble.
Yes. But in the last two pitches, look at the location on this pitch here. That's up a little bit too much for him, but it was tailing away. And here Roger gives him just good arm motion and has Darrell way out in front on the ball.
And on the first pitch, Kevin McReynolds promptly laces one up the middle. Kevin's first hit. And the 5th hit for the Mets. Only 7 hits in this ball game as the Mets lead it 3-0.
Well, sometimes you have to do things differently. Sometimes the pitching has to come around. The offense is not going to be there all year. There's no way in the world they're going to continue to beat on the ball. Of course, I'm sure that Mike Cubbage and the rest of the coaching staff and the Met fans sure wish they would, or hope that they do. But there are going to be times they're going to struggle. They're going to have their bad time. But that's when your pitching has to come to the front.
Howard Johnson is certainly having his bad time right now. Batting .222. Fastball on the inside corner.
Yeah, that pitch is running. His ball is running all over the place. Howard thought that was a fastball in, and it just ran right down the middle.
Gave up on that pitch, as you often do, and that's why the late movement is so effective. The later the movement, the more effective the pitch is.
And that's what Howard's been doing lately too, in watching him in the last 2 days.
A little looper to left, base hit. McReynolds will try to go to third. Out at third base. Joe West called him out. It looked like the tag was high, but with a 3-0 lead in the third, I think Buddy Harrelson likes that type of base running.
I was just going to say that. That is good, aggressive base running. If you make it, it looks like you're the greatest base runner that ever lived. If you don't make it, then it's a little shaky. But you like the aggressiveness that the Mets are doing. The Mets aren't going from base to base, and it looks like, no, I don't know if that front leg was in there or not. Joe West was right on the play, but that's not a bad play. That's not a bad play at all. As Ron Jones comes up and makes a fine throw. Ron Jones is known for his offense and not his defense.
Elster takes a fastball for a strike. 0-1 to Kevin now with 2 out. Howard Johnson at first base.
Send him. Let him go.
You know, most of your best base running plays are made when runners are thrown out.
Yes.
Nobody ever criticizes a guy who's passive on the bases, who doesn't try to take the extra base. 1-1 to Elster.
And in this game, you don't necessarily want to go from base to base. Make things happen. He could have very well thrown that ball away.
Sure. Especially with a 3-0 lead in the late innings. When you're ahead, you do more things. You take more chances. Tapper toward third. Hayes broke back inexplicably, and that's probably the reason he threw it low. We'll see how it's going to be scored as Johnson moves to second.
I'm sure that's going to be scored a base hit too. He did break back. It was a base hit. And Charlie Hayes on a swinging bunt. The swinging bunt is probably the toughest play for a third baseman. As he backs up a little bit and comes in, he's become a real good third baseman. Sort of throws off balance here, and I think really an inexperienced first baseman. Had there been a regular first baseman, I bet Ricky Jordan right here would have caught that ball. See where John Kruk's leg was, or his glove was? It was back away from him.
Yeah, he got his hands crossed out.
Yeah, one thing I learned from Al Monchak, who I felt was one of the best coaches that I'd ever been associated with and knew a little bit of everything. When you stretch at first base, and I ended my career as a first baseman, if you don't stretch quite as far with your front foot, it gives you a little more maneuverability. Just think about that. If you're stretching and stretched all the way, your arms are blocked, and your elbow or your knee blocks your arm, and you can't maneuver. But if you just stretch on that ball just maybe a foot or so, it gives you a lot more freer movement with your hands.
No balls, 1 strike to Orlando Mercado. Here it is again.
And here's a stretch again. He stretched a little too far, and even though now that ball is catchable, but look where his foot is. See how far he's away, and he's also striding toward second base, it looks like, and not toward the ball.
2 on, 2 out, 3-0 Mets here in the 8th inning. 0-1 to Orlando Mercado. Slider and a beauty. 0-2. You mentioned Hayes' improvement at third base. Entering tonight's play, as you look at Doc Gooden on deck, Hayes had gone 34 consecutive games without an error. That's the best in the majors going into tonight's action. 34 consecutive games without an error.
And just think of the pressure that must be on this young man filling in for a legend in Michael Jack Schmidt.
Slider is wide. Ball and 2 strikes to Mercado.
As we look at a slim down Charlie Hayes, and he lost 10 pounds this year, and that's probably one reason why he's able to move a little bit and get in front of balls and do some things. He was a little heavy last year.
One game last year after coming over from the Giants, he had 4 errors in 1 game. 1-2 to Mercado. Slider gets him. Second strikeout for McDowell. The Mets have 3 hits in the 8th inning. They fail to score. But after 8, it's 3-0 New York. And we're back after this from Eagles Snacks. Capacity crowd on hand tonight. Doc Gooden has rewarded them, leading 3-0. And here's how it all happens. An RBI single by Mark Carrion, scoring Kevin Elster, put the Mets on top 1-0 in the 5th. And then Darryl Strawberry, after a walk to Greg Jeffries, hit his 15th home run of the year, a 2-run shot in the 6th off Pat Combs, the starter of the Phillies. And that has been it.
And if Roger McDowell can get out of his slump, if he can do things like this, look at that slider away. And then we see another pitch, another slider away. And again, another slider away. Hey, if the guy is showing you, Roger, that he's not staying on that slider, stay there.
Keep putting that bucket in the well with water. 0-1 to Tommy Herr. Tommy will be followed by Von Hayes and then Ron Jones. So the meat of the Phillies order coming up here in the 9th. No balls, 2 strikes to Herr.
And the meat of the New York Mets bullpen is out there ready to go too. John Franco. Hot day. White maybe struggling a little bit, although it doesn't look like it. He's thrown some quality pitches so far. As we look at the 2 amigos, so to speak. There's little Mutt and Jeff. Boy, those are two rare breeds, guys.
2 dandies right there, baby. What was that? Tommy Herr squared around. He looked like he wanted to bunt. Johnson was back at 3rd, but a 2-strike bunt.
That's not too bad either. I mean, 2 strikes, and apparently Tom Herr has done this before, but here he recognizes all the way that it is a ball. What he did too is moved Howard Johnson in a couple of steps.
Ball and 2 strikes to Herr. Lined foul down the left field line.
Is that a pretty piece of hitting? Right now, Howard was playing up a little too close. He kind of knows too. With 2 strikes, you can go ahead and move back now, Howard. But Dwight throws his fastball that's just tailing away, and Tom Herr had already planted a seed in Howard Johnson's mind that, hey, I might lay one down. And now he tries to slap the ball by him. Lenny Dykstra was good at that too. Lenny Dykstra could move up on the plate and have that 3rd baseman coming in pretending like he was going to bunt and hit a bullet by that 3rd baseman every time.
1-2 to Herr here in the 9th, and the curve is grounded towards 2nd. Jeffries an easy play, and Herr is the out. So Gooden has gotten the leading lady here in the 9th inning, and Von Hayes will be the batter.
And not only was it a good curve, but Dwight took a little bit off of it. After throwing about 4 or 5 consecutive fastballs, he just took a little bit off the curveball, not really worrying about striking him out, but just trying to get him in front, get Tom Herr out in front.
Gooden has a 2-hit shutout over 8 1/3. His last 2-hit shutout back on September 22nd, 1986. High, ball 1.
Well, Dwight did what he accomplished or said he was going to try to accomplish, and that was to keep the #1 hitter in Lenny Dykstra and #2 in Tom Herr off the bases.
They are 0 for 8 on the evening. Popped up, Mercado giving chase. And it's back in the stands. 1-1 to Hayes.
Nice catch.
Right. Backpedaling action there.
Well, I see why you do a lot of standing, Tim McCarver. These seats are hot.
Yeah, you do. You got to
Bring a towel or something.
work on things up here.
Wow.
Things get a little sticky here. I think. 1-1 to Hayes.
I've always watched you from the first base coaching line and say, why is he always standing up and moving around? Now I see why.
2 balls and a strike as Joe West did not give the strike sign on Hayes. Gooden has struck out 5. He's walked 2. Strike 2, 2-2 to Hayes.
And as we've seen the intensity and the look on Dwight Gooden's eyes, the kill instinct. And I was always taught, and Jim Bibby once told me that, Bill, you try to kill a fly with a sledgehammer. Put him away.
Interesting, because Jim Bibby didn't have that when he started out, but he got it later as Hayes fouls it back, still 2-2.
And he fouls back a good curveball, too, and that's a mark of a good hitter. That's one of Dwight's best curveballs right there, and the good hitters just seem to foul those pitches off.
Yeah, you bring up a name, Jim Bibby. Jim Bibby was a nice man. Dwight Gooden's a nice man, but he doesn't let hitters know it.
That's true. That's you have to be mean and nasty out there. You don't make big money in this game or in any sport being nice.
Got him. 6 strikeouts now for Gooden.
And this is more or less unhittable. To come back with a curveball the pitch before and to hit that outside corner. Vaughn, you have a great eye. You have a great eye at the plate. And as you see Vaughn Hayes' wife's reaction, she didn't think it was a strike. But she's
not agreeing with home plate umpire Paul Runge.
But she sure is striking, isn't she?
Ron Jones now the batter. 2 outs here in the 9th inning. 3-0 Mets. Gooden trying to finish it himself. And it's a strike to Ron Jones. Jones 0 for 2 on the night with a walk. He's been on base twice. Also on an error, the only error the Mets have committed. High, ball 1, 1-1.
As we looked at my partners in crime for about 5 or 6 years, and Buddy Harrelson and the new skipper. And
you miss being on the field?
Not at all. Not at all. Hey, how can if I'm on the field, how can I work with the greatest?
I understand.
You were going to say.
No, I didn't mean to preclude your question. Now, you almost trapped me. Ball and 2 strikes to Jones. I thought you were going to say, how can you not love it up here? And I was going to say, I understand.
Yeah, sure.
Got him. 7 strikeouts for Gooden. And he ended this game in a blaze of glory, retiring the last 8 Phillies. 4 by striking out Hayes in the 7th, Reddy in the 8th, and Hayes again, and Jones in the 9th inning.
This team is amazing right now. They are playing with so much confidence. They just know that when they put their spikes on in that glove, that, hey, we got us a ball game. I think in the past, when they'd get 1 or 2 runs down, they just did not have that killer instinct. And today, you got to, excuse me.
And that's all right, Bill. It's getting to the point where now, you know, initially you could say, well, it was just coincidence, but Buddy Harrelson certainly has to have something to do with this turnaround.
You got to love it. You got to love what he's doing, and if it's nothing more than just making a statement, if it's nothing more than just saying, well, guys, we're going to stop this, we're not going to do this, I want this done, I want that done. And like I said, the biggest thing is Buddy's transition as a manager, to be able to mold to his team and not have his team completely turn around and mold to Buddy Harrelson.
You see the totals on tonight's game: 3-7-1 for the Mets. Pat Combs, the loser, his record now 3-6. Doc Gooden wins it. His first complete game shutout of the year. He wins it 3-0. And his record now 6-5, and obviously his earned run average is much lower. Bill and I will be back with a wrap up the Budweiser Player of the Game right after this.